Katerina.
Hello.
So Saturday is the deadline for the future of a steelworks in northeastern France, and the government and the plant's owners are at loggerheads about that. What's the press reaction to it all?
Well, it's been a lot of print time for this issue. Le Figaro, for the first time, it's not the UMP leadership battle off their top front page all week. So obviously big news. Florange, which is the name of that steelworks, as you mentioned, the idea of nationalising it is making waves, according to the paper. Now, this is a proposal put forward by the French government that they'd rather nationalise this steelworks than see parts of it shut down, which has been the proposal by the owners. Now, the paper looks at the reaction of the head of France's employers' union, MEDEF, who've called this plan to nationalise scandalous. That's an idea picked up on in their editorial. They say that this is just sort of complete nonsense wrought in iron by the French government. They say they're completely ignoring market realities, and in fact they're doing quite sort of a dent to France's image. They say, do you want to attract big business or not? Because the reality is that these decisions sometimes have to be taken by business owners in order to keep the majority of people in work. Indeed, there's sort of 20,000 people employed by the ArcelorMittal company across the France. They say, is it really worth going into this, perhaps putting those jobs in jeopardy for just 600 that would be lost if part of this plant closed? However, it is very interesting to see a survey in the Le Huffington Post, the French version of that website, a survey of the French public asking them if they would sort of agree to seeing nationalisation, and in fact 6 out of 10 people asked were in favour. So perhaps the government taking a decision which more accurately reflects what French people think about this issue.
Okay, well, meanwhile, what's been the reaction of the French press to that vote to give the Palestinians observer status at the UN?
Well, it was a little bit late in the day for a lot of the French print editions to get this on their front pages. However, a lot of reaction online. Le Monde, they had an interesting look about sort of what this bid means for Franco-US relations. They say that the fact that France was such a clear yes from the get-go is sort of an indication that they want to put a bit of pressure on the US in order to sort of move forward their policies with regards to the Middle East. Le Figaro also have a very interesting piece. They sent people, reporters onto the ground in Ramallah. They were talking about the scenes of great celebration there. However, also some divided opinion from the people they spoke to, some saying that they felt that this successful bid basically won't change anything on the ground. However, some saying that they really did believe it would pave the way to peace. One man particularly liked this quote. He said, "We don't often get good news here, so I'm going to enjoy it for now."
Oh, well, a nice quotation there. Back to France, and Libération is looking at the state of the French housing market.
Yes, they are, and they say it's a market which is frozen. They say that buyers don't want to buy right now because they keep on thinking that prices are going to come down. However, vendors don't want to sell because, again, they don't want to sort of feel like they're having to cut their prices in order to sell. So it's a market which Libération say is completely frozen, and sort of no real sort of end in sight of how exactly this is going to sort of unfreeze itself.
Okay, now La Croix, meanwhile, is also looking at what churches in France are doing with their property.
Yeah, this is, they say, the new vocation for religious buildings in France. They say that a lot of these buildings are sort of remaining empty, and in fact they want to sort of sell off bits of it, not just to sell it for selling off sake, but they've kind of organised a bit of a conglomerate so that parts of churches and land that church owned will be sold off for sort of social housing projects. And in fact, it's something which is raising about 12 million euros per year for sort of churches in France. So a good money earner for them, as well as doing something altruistic.
Indeed. Well, finally, some good news in Le Parisien, the local paper here in Paris, ahead of World AIDS Day on Saturday.
Yes, they say that there's hope for a remedy, a vaccine. This is ahead, as you say, World AIDS Day tomorrow. A new vaccine which could stop HIV turning into AIDS sort of more effectively than previous vaccines we've seen. This is a new trial is going to be launched in January on 100 patients who suffer from HIV. However, the paper points out that it is important that people are still aware that HIV is a problem. There's quite an amusing little cartoon in their piece, which is two condoms talking to each other, one saying a new vaccine against AIDS, the other say, don't worry, we're not out of a job just yet, wanting to enforce the point that prevention is still better than cure at all times.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Katerina, for that look at today's French papers. Well, let's get a reminder now of our top